Waiting on everybody to pull out there on the grinder. The grinder's the pavement, like the street. Right. And you're standing out there. So what did you like most about the Navy? And what did you like being?
You still there, Laura?
Well, I like
I'm still here.
That was a lot of fun. But I got a little bit careless.
You have a question for him?
Bulletproof.
Laura, do you have a question for any of these guests we have on?
My questions won't be along the same line, and so I'll bring. I don't know if people would be interested in discussing, but I see that he was stationed in Pearl Harbor. I'm kind of reading up about that.
Yep.
And I'm wondering what he can tell us about his time at Pearl Harbor. And I do see that he met his wife there, so he has some personal things that happened there. But I would love to hear from someone who was stationed in Pearl Harbor. It's very interesting, and I just so appreciate you. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Okay, one of the things I did out of Pearl Harbor, the Army normally stations their troops at an individual fort or station or garrison, but the Navy just has a home port for that particular ship there sometimes. But I was just speaking with some of the people I have lunch with on Thursdays today about circumstances of particularly the commanding officer school for submarines, which I was in over at Pearl Harbor, and that was a 5-week course, very intensive for people who are going to be commanding officers of submarines. And for 1 week of that, they sometimes had it, in our case, also over in the States in Hunters Point, which at that time had the only attack trainer for multiple targets to train commanding officers to be able to go after a multiplicity of targets where you've got more than one ship. And it's very, very challenging to have 3 or 4 ships coming at you at the same time and to be able to pick out the particular targets that you want just by reason of 1 or 2 periscope observations that are done in seconds. In fact, as we have a sailor standing by with a stopwatch to time the amount of time that our periscope is up. And if that exceeds 4 seconds, we're given the word by that sailor that that's it. So we have to have a very precise type of operation of observing those matters. And then in addition to that, then we do a lot of time on what was known as the torpedo data computer, which is a matter of a highly technical computer that has the target, has your own ship, and has the relationship between the two, and also is the control for your torpedoes, which are your primary weapon for a submarine. So those are the things that we learn, and we learn also how to get in behind and get behind a screen, which is of destroyers, to get in to get the main target. That is the challenge of submarines, to be able to kill and knock off the principal target that's inside the convoy, because without being seen, right? And then also we have to be so aware and alert of aircraft that are from the other side, because many times an aircraft is going to observe us, and we have to use various methods to try to remain concealed from those aircraft, because the aircraft can get right at us, and one bomb from there, and we're through. It's going to probably penetrate our hull. So we have to be in complete secrecy. Submarine attacks are mainly done at night, so under the cover of darkness, and with no lights, and we have to be able to keep our cover. So those are the things that submarines are involved in connection with these matters.
What would you say about the Army? What would you say about the Army as far as
fortunate being with Pat in World War II in Europe, and I sent letters because I am quite a letter writer, and I was blessed to have my mother save my letters, and I compiled them. And these are letters that I actually copies of letters that I sent home, and then when I got out of the Army, I filed them, and I have a complete file of these letters. And here, that may be interesting. Somewhere in Germany, this is during the war, we saw a Nazi officer and two soldiers fleeing on foot. Another crew member and I got out of our tank and ran after them. I thought my buddy had ammunition and a submachine gun. He thought my gun was loaded. We faked it by shouting, "Haw!" We pointed out unloaded weapons at them. We took them to our officer, who in turn turned them over to military police. What expression on their faces when they discovered their captors had no ammo. I got a P-38 automatic and an SS sword and souvenirs. Incidentally, our tank crew sported goatees, sideburns, and mustaches. We are not going to shave them off until we get out of this hole. Here's another observation. Somewhere in Germany, Sunday, I saw an elderly lady leaving a church. They're not totally extinct here. I wonder whom she worshipped. Could it have been Hitler, who represents the raging fires of hell? Or could this neat-appearing lady deep within hold devotion to the Almighty? Certainly there is no room for the utterance of both names in the same breath. There are no atheists here, not with what we encounter.
Like that, you write to your mother?
No.
You didn't send letters or anything?
Oh, yeah, I sent letters.
So you have also, but I'm sure she kept most of them, all of them actually. They're very dear to her. What about you, Admiral? Did you have letters to your mother?
When we could do it, we did, but we had, as our guest has indicated, why aircraft carriers, bird farms, we refer to them as, why the bird farms usually are underway for less than 30 days, 28 days, something of that nature, as Ron stated. And we in the submarine force, why, we were usually underway for substantially long periods. The longest patrol that I ever went on was 108 days submerged without servicing. So we didn't have the worry of having to write off or let anybody correspond with us, and it was very important. They didn't know where we were going or what we were doing. And a few of us at the command level, why we knew where we were going, what we were doing. We didn't share that usually with the crew until we were on our way back home. We tell them then where they'd been, what they'd done, and they were all sworn to secrecy that they couldn't tell a thing. They'd just tell that we'd been to sea, we'd crossed the ocean, but that was it. And it was on a so-called need-to-know basis, in the sense that we didn't have to know where we were or what we were doing. We didn't tell. And many times, submarines particularly don't know where they're going or what they're doing until they are at sea. And then the captain is given a package, which he opens together with the operations officer and the second in command, and then they decide where they're going. But they many times are given the packet and told that this is not to be opened until you have adjacent to the ship the sea buoy, and then it'll tell you which way we're going, north, south, east, wherever. But we don't know where we're going or what we're doing until we are there on our way, and that's all a part of the security system, because it's so important. If the opposition knows where you are